my friend Mike Lindell, head of My Pillow, which I have and I bought before I ever even knew Mike and ever was talking to him. And I love My Pillow. Thank you very much. He joins us now via Skype. Mike, so good to see you. And man, what a day you had yesterday.
Yeah, I was. I think we were the number one Twitter in the world yesterday.
Yeah, you were trending. I saw that you were trending. We were on air when all of this happened, and I saw your name was trending, and I thought, what? And what is this about? And I clicked it, and that was the thing that I saw. That was, I mean, I've seen some hostile interviews before, but I don't understand the purpose in targeting you and trying to go at you in the manner which was done yesterday. I mean, you have your opinions on certain issues as it relates to the virus, and you have, your personal experiences. And I was really shocked at that. And then to try to drag your company, which everyone on the left has been trying to do since the day that you came out in support of Trump, trying to drag your company once again into it. That was way below the belt.
Yeah, and it was. I wish I'd have been a little more calmer, but I couldn't get a word in edgewise. And he just kept going over the top and asking me a question. He said, "Is it safety tested phase 1 and 2?" I gave him the honest answer. Yes, it is. Now, what he didn't realize, if I would have told him, I was under agreement not to give him the phase 1 and 2, not to show him where it was, and not to. I mean, there was part of it on the website of this company. And but today we're releasing it all to the good media.
Oh, wow.
We're releasing it. It's going to be like in here. Here's what we have, Mr. Anderson Cooper. And did you hear me ask him? I said, "Are you going to let me back on your show when I show you this exists?" We'll see if he lets me come back on now when he's so-called eating crow.
Well, and so tell folks, because I remember when you were there, I think it was in the Rose Garden or one of the South Lawns, when you were there with the president, and different American companies were taking over production of different things that right. First responders and that healthcare providers needed, and you all were making masks, and there was another company that was doing ventilators and all of this, which was amazing to see come together. Tell me what your company has been doing in order to meet the needs that have developed throughout this pandemic.
Well, when the president invited me to speak there, and they wanted us to tell everybody what we were doing as a company, mm-hmm. and one of the things we had switched over 75% of our company to provide or to make masks, and also to go out. I also went out and bought masks because I could get access to them. So I have over $4 million of my own money invested in just bottom line dollars, just donated, and. But I did do one thing. When I went up there and told the country that, of course, I was attacked for what else I said, let's all pray, get with other families, and we have this time where we're quarantined inside. Let's get in prayer, get back in the Word, and pray for an answer to this terrible China virus. And well, on Easter Sunday, after this happened, from all over the country, people were, reach out to me. Hey, I have this idea for a sanitizer. I have this cure. I have this. I have that. Well, on Easter Sunday, of all days, I get a call from this Andrew Whitney, and he goes, "Hey, Mr. Lindell," he says, I've seen you at the Rose Garden, and I've seen you on TV before, and I'd like to tell you about this cure. That we have this, and it comes from a plant called the oleander plant. And I said, okay, and I listened up, and I went outside. It was in this hotel, and I told my girlfriend, I said that this guy called, he has this cure, and I really believe him. And it's from an oleander plant. She said, that's what this is. It was all around our hotel. And apparently it was, it's a molecule from this plant, and all this research had been done and this safety test. Well, anyway, I right away turned it in, like I do all my stuff, to the task force. In this case, because it was of a cure, I turned it into Secretary Carson. So I gave it to Secretary Carson. He then was contacted because it looked promising. He contacted them. They gave him all the phase 1, phase 2 testing, all the trials that had been done, and showed him this. And he called me back and said, "Mike, this is safety. This is safe." He says, and it looks like with all the tests, it's going to work. So I said, so I could take it. It's safe. And I, with the phase 1 and phase 2. So I started taking it immediately, and I could never get sick. It's been a prophylactic. My friends, family, I've given it to them when I have tested positive. 2 days later, they're fine. It's just an amazing confidence that I have. Well, anyway, then they turned in all their stuff from this company, turned it all into the FDA in April. And, we went through all the process, the
It's
dotting
a
the
long
I's, crossing the
process.
T's. But I was so excited wanting to get it out there to save lives. And then we ended up, then they also applied just for this dietary supplement. Then they applied for it's called an IND number. It's just to try it out there in a hospital setting. That's where it's at now. They've both been applied for, but the safety tests have all been done. So you got to ask yourself, why, if this is 100% safe by FDA standards, how come we can't get a right to try it in a hospital setting with all these hospitals are waiting? They're all waiting. They know it works and they want to try it.
Yeah.
Well, we had the meeting, then we brought it to the president, Secretary Carson did, and we got to go with him. He set it up, and myself and Andrew Whitney, and we got in there and we met with the president, and each one told Andrew, got to tell him about it, and that this great president listens to all solutions, not just here. He is so great during this pandemic. He's done everything, like when he reached out for masks and reached out for ventilators. Let's all solutions for the people, And somebody leaked that meeting out. So then the Washington Post did a column on, that they're trying to push their idea to the front of the line. That wasn't the case at all. Mr. Carson was letting the president know, hey, this could be a winner here, and they've already applied to the FDA, and the president says, well, the FDA then should approve it if it's good, and that was all that was said. Well, then of course this article came out this last weekend by Jonathan Swan, I believe was his name, and he twisted it saying that we were bypassing certain. Trying to get to the front line or trying to do it without FDA. And it's 100%. It's for 4 months it's been before the FDA. And it's 100% phase 1 and 2 were done in 2014. This is just a load as a supplement. They tested, how much dosage you can take. Passed with flying colors. Then they did it again in 2015 and then in 2020, this year. So and all these tests were on there on phoenixbiotechnology.com, but I didn't want to tell Anderson Cooper that, hey, you should have done your due diligence. I think I said, you've been misconstrued. This is the safest, one of the safest supplements I've ever heard of. And and why would everybody not want to try it? Because all you can do is say, wow, it didn't work, but it's safe. Right. But I know it does work. And one more thing too is then Cooper hit me with, well, you're part of the company now, you're on the board. Just last week, these guys asked me, because we're hoping the FDA gives this pretty soon, the right to go out and try it in a hospital setting. So these guys, they had me as a consultant and said, Mike, you know how to scale stuff. Would you come into the company? And I wanted to make sure that everyone's going to get it. So I joined the board. I invested in the company just so they'd have the resources. So when they do approve it, everybody's going to want it because it works.
Right. And it's amazing that none of that information, that you couldn't even have that in the conversation yesterday, because I would think that, we were watching this and I was telling Kane, our executive producer, I'm like, that there's so much more to this story, but it just seems as though they kind of want to kick you around. And I've seen this whenever the president talks about hydroxychloroquine, the hydroxychloroquine cocktail, treating the symptoms and all of that stuff. I know people who have been hospitalized. I know them personally, and who went in and they received the hydroxychloroquine cocktail, and it actually helped the liquid dissipate in their lungs, etc. They were, and I even shared like a screenshot of the release records with permission of the family on the internet. And it's amazing how if it doesn't go in with a particular ideological line and a particular ideological narrative, then it is immediately discounted and it's viewed as suspicious. But yet those individuals think that the people who've lied to us about masks and have tried to politicize the origin of this, that we're to trust them and that ideology more than our own personal experiences. And that makes no sense to me, Mike.
No, it really doesn't. And another narrative they put out, well, oleander's a poisonous plant. And I said on one outlet, it wasn't just Cooper's, it was another. I went on all the really hard left outlets first. I wanted to do that. I mean, I was looking so forward to going on CNN because they've never had me on, and I knew he was going to attack. But I went, all his attacks, it's going to make him look bad now that everything he attacked me and wouldn't let me tell him is there. I was telling the truth. The truth shall set you free. And one of the things is they talk, well, oleander's a poisonous plant. I said, well, we're not telling everyone to go out and graze in your parking lot on plants. Almost every drug we have, drug and even supplements come from toxic things, come from poisonous things. They don't give you the poison. They give you, they give you the molecules from it or whatever they come up with. I'm not a scientist, but I looked up, poisonous plants used in medicine, and it just goes.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of things. That's a nuance that seems kind of important to mention if they're trying to bring that up, the poisonous aspect of it. That's an important nuance.
Right. And that's what they're trying. And it was interesting watching the Twitter feeds because you'd have people that knew what they were talking about go, most medicines we have come from poison. Even your caffeine can be, if you take too much of it, is bad. All these things that are developed, aspirin's got stuff and you take too much. But that's why they have safety tests called phase 1 and 2.
Right.
What they do is they give you, they give them dosages more and more until you finally get some side effects, and that's your ceiling for that supplement or whatever, the dietary supplement. Well, when these did all this test, these were on hundreds and hundreds of people. I have it here in front of me. The one was in 2014 covering phase 1. Phase 2 was in 2015. And also redone in 2020 earlier this year, just so we could have that. And then it was brought into University of Texas Medical Branch and tested in a laboratory form, and then also in Fort Detrick. And what it did, it brought the viral load, it's called, from 20,000x down to 0 in 5 hours. And so I'm thinking, hey, wow, this thing is safe, and it destroys the viral load in a dish. I'm taking it. If any of my loved ones get it, when there's nothing out there to try and it's safe, why wouldn't you try it? And I could just bring person after person out here going, it was amazing. Or people that have been right next to someone that's had it and they don't get it because they've took it as a prophylactic.
Oh, wow.
And, I really believe, I don't know why it's being held back or not out there yet, to be able to use in the hospital, but you got to wonder, you got something, it's inexpensive. It could get us right back, the economy open, everybody back to normal lives.
Yeah,
and save lives.
It doesn't.
People have died. Enough people have died to fill Madison Square Garden right now.
When they try to silence any discussion on anything else that is apart from their narrative or apart from what they think you should be discussing and think you should be taking, that just makes reasonable people suspicious of their motives. But I'm glad that you've stuck to your guns, Mike. We're out of time, unfortunately, but we'd love to talk to you again. We appreciate all that you're doing, not just with the company, but also with your voice and bravely going into the lion's den there as well. Mike Lindell, CEO of My Pillow. Go out and get y'all's pillows and the towels and everything else. Mike, always so good to see you. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks, Dana. Thanks for having me on. God bless you.
God bless. Take care.